Letter D. Marriage isn't just romance and sentimentality. Marriage isn't just romance, and I think sentimentality is a word. Spell Correct didn't correct me, so I just stuck with it. But here's the deal. I remember a couple years ago, a famous Hollywood couple was filing for divorce. And when that famous Hollywood couple filed for divorce, there was an article that was run. It doesn't matter who it was, and I want to point out something in this. There was an article that was run. It was talking to the female. And she was talking about why she filed for divorce, and she basically alluded to the fact that she watched the movie The Notebook. And so she said, I watched the movie The Notebook, now we're filing for divorce. Now, if you're kind of doing math, you can figure out she watched the movie The Notebook, and she saw the way that all this stuff was playing out in The Notebook, and she probably felt like that wasn't her marriage, or what, I don't know what it was. But the point I want to glean from that is that if we watch simply things like that, and listen, I'm not like knocking The Notebook, whatever, like, you know, you want to watch The Notebook, that's fine. But like if we just simply think that that is marriage, that every day is going to look like that, and all of our life experiences are just going to be wrapped up in this romantic, wonderful thing, we are simply fooling ourselves. And every married person in the room said, thank you. Okay, but see, here's what I want to point out. It's not just that. Now, I also want to point this out. There is an element of that in marriage. If you read the Song of Solomon, you see there's romance all over that book. But if that's all you're looking for, then that covenant that we talked about earlier, you could easily just say, well, I wasn't expecting this. I want to get out. This isn't, all romance and wonderful. Here's the problem, too. Social media has done a really bad job at really giving us a portrayal of what life should look like. I'll give you an example. Chelsea, can we put that picture up on the screen? I put this up on social media this week. This is me at Disney World with Avery. She's driving me. And we're on that little cart. Now, don't worry. There's like a rail underneath it. She can't get too far off the road. But so I took that and I was like, hey, this would be a really funny picture to take. A little selfie of Avery driving me. And so I put it up on social media. And I was like, hey, this is Avery driving me around Disney World or whatever. And I'm sure people saw it go, oh, that's so cute. Jason went to Disney World with his family. That's great. There's other pictures that we put up of like us standing in front of the castle and we're all smiling and looking at the camera. Here's the thing about that picture. Do you have any idea what it took to get to that moment? Any idea what it took? We had to fly on an airplane with 2 kids that are under the age of 3. Changing diapers on the airplane. The day we took Avery down to Disney World, Avery and Hadley, we woke Avery up at like 6:15 in the morning. She's like a college student. She sleeps till 9 every day. So she's already sleep deprived. The room wasn't ready when we got there. So she didn't get her nap till 4 o'clock. We took her swimming and she started just like acting like a crazy child because she was so sleep deprived. Then to get to the park, we have a double stroller. And this double stroller is probably wider than this aisle. And so, there's 50, 70,000 people at Disney World. I'm like taking little kids' feet off with this stroller. Then Avery's trying to eat popcorn off the ground at Disney World. And then when you actually get to the ride, those cars smell horrible. Because those were created like before any sort of emissions regulation. So it's like, let's tear a hole in the ozone layer. So, you just like got this smell of exhaust all over you. And then I took that picture. And then after that picture, you notice it's cloudy. We had to beat the rain because the rain was coming. Like none of that was chronicled on social media. Just the one moment that looked, hey, this is fun. They're at Disney World. The point I'm trying to make is those moments do exist, but we don't put on social media all the moments it took to get to those moments, right? Like nobody's putting, crying kid or like, freak out that you're having or, the moment where you woke up and you were crying because something was wrong. Nobody takes a selfie of that. And so what happens is we can so easily just get on Instagram or whatever and we can look at social media and just kind of scroll through and go, oh, well, you know what? That person has a perfect life and that person has a perfect life and my life isn't perfect. I must be doing something wrong. But if they were willing to show on social media everything, you'd realize that their life is just as messed up as yours, if not more. And so what I'm trying to do right here is to give us a realistic example of marriage. Sure, there's going to be romance. Sure, there's going to be a honeymoon. But there also might be a night where both the kids are screaming. You can't get it under control. And one of you's sick. There's going to be moments where things don't go the way you planned. But see, the good news is marriage is so much deeper than that. Imagine if it was just about romance. How shallow is that? How fleeting is that? But it's about something so much deeper. It's about the promise. The promise that says, when you lose your job, I'm not going anywhere. When you get cancer, I'm going to be by your side. When you get Alzheimer's, I'm going to come visit you every day. That's marriage. That's so much more beautiful than this, oh, we're on a great date, take the selfie. That's the type of marriage that I want. And some of us in this room, we need to have a realignment of our expectations, because unmet expectations are a breeding ground for disappointment. They're a breeding ground for disappointment. And so here's the gift that God gives us in the church. There's usually going to be someone who has gone before you in something in the church. And so for some of you in this room, maybe you're single, maybe you're young, married like me. You know what you could do? You could pull aside somebody who's in this room and ask them, what does marriage really look like? For me, this is just me. I've spent a lot of time with Sam and Suzanne Winston. It's actually Sam Winston's birthday. Happy birthday, Sam. But here's the deal. I've spent a lot of time with them. And just sitting at their kitchen table, I've seen what marriage looks like. Like, I didn't go over there and say, hey, you know what? Tell me about marriage. I've just watched them interact with each other. And I've seen a promise. Promise that says I'm not going anywhere. I've seen marriage and its grit and its grime. I've seen that. And there's so many other couples in this room that you could pull aside and say, show me what marriage looks like. And the great thing about the church is that they're probably willing to do so. I know Sam and Suzanne are. But that's what we need to be doing, because marriage is so much. I want that type of marriage. I want the type of marriage that says it's not about the romance. It's about the fact that I love you and I'm committed to you and I want to see you become the person that I know Jesus is making you into. That's the type of marriage that I want. That's the type of expectations that I want. And I see that. I see that developing in my own marriage. And I want that for every person in this room. But the good news is